We're back with the hair.
Moving on. We're wasting a lot of minutes. Your hair looks great.
I don't feel like it's a waste of time because fidget a lot. And I got a lot of hair. I haven't had a haircut since.
You have a lot of hair.
I haven't had a haircut since over a year, maybe a year. I don't remember.
I haven't had a haircut since I went to Africa the first time. 2 years ago.
So you haven't had a haircut in 2 years, and I haven't had one in a year, or
so
about a year.
We've got a longer pandemic than most. Welcome to our 15,165th episode of...
What? What are you doing? Why are you just saying all those
I'm trying to be funny.
What's funny about that? Okay. I don't understand. I never understand. We do something. I never understand. Okay, ready?
Yeah. You can...
I can't set us up like you do, honey. Buns.
Welcome to another episode of Borderline Racist Marriage. I'm Leonard Jones and...
Tukwila Jones.
Quiet Jones.
Tukwila Jones.
This is great. She spoke. Like, that was cool. That was really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're going to talk to you about some stuff that's going on in the... Fresh off the news. Trump leans against podiums to speak. Has anyone seen that? It reminds me of Flipper. It reminds me of those trees in LA that always are like hanging over the roadway, the palm trees that are hanging over, and you just don't know if there's like real coconuts.
Right, the bent ones.
The bent ones. And it reminds me of...
I love palm trees. Favorite.
Narwhals? Is it narwhals?
Narwhals?
No, what's the one walrus that has the extra... There's like a walrus that has the extra...
Elephant?
Elephant seal. So what we would like to talk about in regards to race. That's a segue from Trump. Oh, hairstyles.
Hairstyles. We're going to open with hair?
I want to talk about hair. So we have biracial children.
Yeah.
As you might see if you intersect these two situations right here.
Multiracial,
Multiracial.
Biracial, multiracial, black children.
Real talk. To do the hair of our children, you did have to...
Research.
Yeah, that's the thing. You had to research.
I chose to research. Nobody has to do anything in their lives.
I guess that's true.
And I would say a lot of white parents of black children are... I hope most... are researching, or even if the research is knowing people and just it's naturally happening, cool, but I'm hoping that most people with hair similar to my texture and porosity, or is it whatever it is,
porosity?
and yeah.
That's a word, I don't know what that means. Straight? Is it porosity mean straight?
What? No, porosity is how porous it is.
Okay.
And then is it texture? Okay, I can't exactly remember.
Can you look up the word porosity just for our own sake? But I mean, African people, a lot of people from different cultures have naturally
great
oily scalp. Naturally oily scalp. So I think what you're talking about is like, there's a great difference in that part, and let me stop beyond the curl.
I missed half of what you said.
Because you were talking over.
No. I was attempting to think of a place where I could, because there's a really great Instagram. And that explains it very clearly. And if I had known that we were going to go into this much, we would talk about it and go into this much depth, then I would have actually already.
We haven't gotten any depth because all I did is said is that you researched when you had kids on how to do it. I didn't say we were going any depth. We haven't gotten any depth.
We did. We went into the depth of like what hair porosity is and texture and.
Yeah, but you just said a word. Yeah. Okay. What's the definition?
Hair porosity is about your hair's ability to absorb and retain moisture.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what this means.
So you're saying that you guys have different hair porosity than our hair porosity, or white people or straight hair people have different porosity than people with curly hair?
Not necessarily, but I mean, I would imagine that on the whole, that mostly that's true. But that doesn't necessarily what it means, because there's porosity, and then you look up hair texture. Look up like natural hair.
Okay, so what I'm hearing in this, and I know that we're about to get very literal, because the one dynamic about our relationship is that every word means something, and we have to figure out exactly what it means, whereas I like to talk about things freely.
We talking about our marriage again?
We're talking about
I'm very
words.
literal.
We're going on a tangent about the word, and I want to talk about the myth.
The meat.
You said meat, I said mist. I don't know what.
We're so never on the same
I'm
page.
thinking ethereal. You're thinking boom. Okay, what I'm saying is that when you were deciding to research,
Yeah.
you said that some people don't have to do anything, but you decided to, and I would like to know what made you feel like that was something. To me, that's
I did not
empowering.
want to mess up our children's hair.
Write that down.
I want my children to love their hair as much as we love our hair, as much as, I want our children to love their hair. And their hair is beautiful.
We didn't know we were going to grow their hair long, but
I want to do it. I want to be able to teach them how to do their hair.
Okay.
I would say we've Dang it. Lordy.
The great interrupter. I can't tell if I'm interrupting or not because I'm trying to add to what it is about African American hair. Because when they become intersected like this, they become African Americans.
Wait a second. Are you calling biracial people intersected?
No, and I'm calling African American if they're mixed with black and white.
Huh?
I'm calling the children that are mixed with black and white African American.
Yeah.
I'm saying we intersected.
Yeah, and our children are African American.
That's what I'm
Are
saying.
Black. Yeah.
They're black.
Yes.
So, in the community, as a general frame of thinking, black people's hair is a very important subject to black people. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you naturally went to go research it to figure it out is a very good thing. So let's all from our couches.
What am I supposed
in
to
our
bow?
PJs.
What is happening right
I'm
now?
just making sure that anybody that's watching this is clapping, and you don't have to take a bow, but man, you did that thing.
I don't feel like there's anything that needs to be clapped for. That should just be a requirement. If you have children who have different hair, I'm sorry. Like, even if you're a parent who has children who have curly hair and you have straight hair, go research some stuff, man. I had some friends who were white and had curly hair, and they'd end up with mushrooms on their heads because their parents did not know how to take them to a person who knew how to cut curly hair. So I feel like it's a special kind of important, I guess. Like, it's a special kind of importance if you do have a child who's a different ethnicity than your own ethnicity to research that. So
cleanliness
that
is next to godliness, I heard, and I don't know if that has
we're
to do.
pivoting.
No, I'm not pivoting. I'm talking about hair still. Taking care of your hair is good hygiene. Someone teaching a child
talking about cleanliness.
that is a part of being clean. Ever since biblical days.
Oh, sure. Okay, got
Okay,
you.
you get it. I'm not that far off. I just have a comical
I just
metaphor.
wasn't sure where you were taking us.
Well, I'm talking about hair, and I want to be specific about this. So you learned how to do it. You feel like you're.
I feel weird when anybody claps for that, or when anybody's like.
I'm joking.
Oh, thank God.
Well, I mean, there's nothing serious about it. But the sincere thing is, you did what you said that other people don't choose to do.
I feel like not enough white parents of black children are doing that at all. I feel like that personally. Those are my feelings. I feel like there's not enough people in my Facebook groups and Instagram groups or whatever the groups that I'm in like this. There's not too many of us in here,
Yeah, you don't want your kid walking out the street and then people going like, "What are those?" And it's like locks. What?
Oh boy.
I'm saying, like, you don't want them out there on the streets being like this.
Live in a neighborhood like ours, you're going to get enough of that anyways.
Am I straight? No, whatever.
Even if you're taking care of their hair, you're going to get enough of that.
So, have you always been? Have you done anybody's hair? Did you do people's hair back in the day?
Oh heck no! I can barely braid my own hair right now. Like, as we sit here, I can do it. I can do a basic.
What are you doing?
I'm showing you the braid I can do.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I won't waste time on that. But I can do the basic 3 braid that goes,
3 braid.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. Oh, and I know how to French braid, but not well at all. Yeah, French braid.
No, but you did hot oil my hair. You hot oil treated my hair once.
I sure did.
Did you research
Heated it up on the stove. Either your mother shared with me or you shared with me.
I don't think I would have had all the knowledge to share with you all the details.
I might have researched. Honestly, I
pretty
don't
sure
remember.
my
That
mom-
was like a decade ago.
I'm pretty sure my mom overshared. And she probably said a whole lot about, like, you gotta take care of your hair, baby. You gotta get in and do. I almost
She
have her
didn't
tone.
teach me how to.
Ducky.
No, she just. I feel like I remember your mom telling me to part it. And I parted it into 4 sections.
My hair.
Not well, but to do.
Man, getting hair did it hurts. Everybody that does get their hair did, they know that it hurts. So, I find it.
I feel like there are some wonderful tools that make it hurt a lot less right now. Is it called the Deva brush? I can't remember.
I don't know.
DEVA brush. Am I getting that right? Look up the Deva brush really quick. Should have like a bunch of prongs.
Okay. Tangent for me. moment for you over there watching, and you can jump in at any time. I thought it would be great to start this conversation because our associate producer, who is with us, M, just let us kind of know that she's been out with her friends and, learning how to do people of color's hair, specifically males. And she happens to be a female. I don't know what her pronoun is or theirs, but I know that she is...
I know.
I don't know specifically.
Well,
I'm
shame.
saying that for the camera. I'm sure it's she, her, right? Yeah, she, her. And I'm sure a lot of he-hims out there on the streets.
Whose hair you're
Do it.
learning how to do.
I don't know if that's pertinent to anybody,
It's the
but
process of learning.
I was trying to be a little woke by not saying I knew, but I do now know specifically. And you don't like that. You're making faces. What are you?
Oh, I'm she, her, and I'm cool with they, them too. But I'm
She,
she, her. I prefer she, her. Love my femininity.
Okay, well I'm
Being a woman.
I'm that guy, and
I love
he, him. But oh, there she go, mocking me.
No, what?
Mocking me.
No, I was trying to do Tim the Toolman Taylor,
Write that down.
and I did a
Oh, what was
horrible
the thing?
job of
It's
that.
a brand.
What's a brand? Yeah, she knows.
It's the brush,
She
right?
wants to know what it is, though. Like, let's go.
There's multiple different styles of brushes. It's
Oh.
the brand name.
It's a brand name for all
Dang
the
it!
brushes.
I wonder what style it
Say
is.
it
I'm
again?
sorry.
What's the
It's
name?
Deva Brush, and I hope that it's the black-owned company
Okay.
that I'm bringing up. But whatever. Okay,
Anyway,
they're
our
black-owned.
associate producer has been, I'm going to use a couple phrases she didn't use, has been acquisitioned in their all universal relationship to take care and do their hair. When I hear that young, dare I say, attractive she, her women that are Caucasian are doing the hair of young, attractive African American he/him's hair, I hope that confused you. When I hear that girls that are white are doing guys that are black's hair, I would be breaking code if I said a lot about it, but I'm sure that when I say what I'm saying, which is not going to be that much because I'm going to be vague, a lot of black people know that that's extra. And I don't mean to put those brothers out there like that, but if they're having white girls do their hair, anything you want to say about that?
I just want to dig into what the word extra is here.
Oh man, it's so cliche.
Thanks for asking, by the way. I wasn't going to say a dang thing.
It's so cliche, and I want to go back to 1992, 3, when hip hop was on.
Well, the 90s are back again in style, too.
It's so cliche for brothers to have interracial relationships. I am in an interracial relationship.
Cliche.
It's cliche. It is a thing. Like there's a lot of so much data. You can research how black people feel about black people in interracial relationships on that alone. So not even whatever the right's doing or the left, but just when black people are talking about how black people are approaching interracial relationships, it's already cliche. It's like those that have committed to those kind of relationships are either trying to run away from their mom, run away from their culture, are afraid of themselves or afraid of society, or trying to even the balance so that they can walk through life kind of like tiptoe and not pointed at or accused or having their lives choked out of them and die in front of everybody on national TV. Basically, it's like these relationships in of effect or subconsciously a part of the trauma. This is the words that are being said, and I'm kind of capstoning a big thing, and I'm only talking about black people talking about black people. It's like these people are moving away from their people, keeping the black culture rich because of those fears or those other associations I kind of threw out there. So when you see young couples kind of move towards that, there is some of that at play unbeknownst to them. And it's unbeknownst to, I would say, both sides, but I can't really speak about what white women are looking at when they look at an African American. We could talk about ourselves. I know I would be, again.
That's gonna.
Yeah, that's a
All
whole.
our
That's a lot of
dirty
episodes.
Dirty laundry.
It's a lot of
out
dirty
there.
laundry.
It's a lot of dirty laundry.
I just wanted to just say is like, I think that it is. I think that it is extra in the sense that I know that you can't make black girls do your hair unless you're in it.
Sense.
You can't make black girls that are the same age as you 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You can't be like, not make, but you can't be like, hey, come through and do my hair. Like, it's on something for real. Like, when I say this, I know there's people on the other side that are African American that are watching the show, and thank you guys for liking it and sending us all your different input and stuff like that. But you know what I'm talking about when you say, like, it's not like that. Like, it's actually jokes after joke after joke. Chris Rock to Eddie Murphy to I'm just naming some of the big ones right there. Kevin Hart, whatever you want to call it. I could name a bunch of females that do it too, female comedians that talk about how easily, just give me one more second, easily it is to get white women to do things that black women don't do. And I hate it because that's not all I feel. I know it's funny, and that's why I just said it was extra. Would you like to say anything about what I just said?
Oh, I was just going to emphasize, like, possibly the movie Good Hair is a
dope movie.
Is a movie that I recommend.
Chris Rock wrote it.
Anybody who hasn't seen
so good. Good hair. Thank you.
Documentary?
No, it's a movie. It's a movie.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's got great.
You haven't seen it?
Man.
Watch that movie. Your mom
Great
should
movie.
watch that movie too. Your dad should watch that movie. If you got siblings,
It's
you should
got,
watch that movie. Like,
such great star power. Chris Rock wrote it, and it hits all the notes.
you started mentioning movie stars, and you started
That's
mentioning.
dope.
Like,
I mean, Barbershop is a great example too. Like, let me just say this almost like a PSA little lesson. Like, there's a lot of dynamics that come with interracial relationships. And there's a lot of things that come with interracial understanding. I think that America's suffering from that relationship. We're like all dating each other, and we're not calling it what it is, and our parents have estranged us, and our mothers are talking shit about us, and our cousins don't want to come over to the barbecue because there's too much mayonnaise. But this is America. Like, America's dating each other, and we're not actually okay with it. We need to be okay with it. That's why the Black Lives Matter story is something. What's up? It's not doing anything? It's all good. Okay. So, did you have something for us? Did we ask you to look up something?
We have a lot of stuff that we may or may not get into. Just
I know. Yeah, that's fine. I know that's why I'm referring to her right there on that one. No? Okay, cool. We're just going to go ahead and segue into the next bit in regards to, like, dealing with stuff with franchises and donating money to white supremacy. Franchises donating money to white supremacy. That's
franchises. You're being so careful in your words. You're just so good at doing that.
What do you mean?
You're just so good at doing that. Without even trying. Well, because, I mean, we could just say companies or...
No, it's franchises. It's franchises and companies. People, they're businesses, corporations that are donating money to white supremacy.
Well, no, but it's different, right? Because a franchise is something that can get all convoluted because, you can purchase that whatever and then have your own whatever. And that's where the waters, I think, have gotten muddied.
This is what happened to me when I just heard that it was franchises of Taco Bell. What does it say?
Taco Bell, KFC, and Home Depot. They're apparently all racist now.
Well, this is what I got excited about.
Well, that's
I got excited about this little beat. When a franchise, meaning Bill, Terry, Janice, who own a franchise, decide to donate money to white supremacy, which in this particular case means Trump. And I'm so sorry. I love Jeb Bush. I'm not gonna lie to you. She can attest to how much I thought he was gonna be the president. But that might confuse a lot of you, but don't worry about it, because I do have a lot of comedy from like how I like people
Trump.
like that.
Jeb Bush. I don't like Jeb Bush that much. Bush is.
Right.
I'm not a fan. He is.
But when I hear that a franchise specifically is donating money, they're hiding underneath the big conglomerate. If you own a Taco Bell and you're like, I want to give $200,000 to Trump, you're really just trying to say Taco Bell's giving $200,000 to Trump, but you're not being accountable for you being an ass.
If it's your own personal money, do you feel like it's a difference if it's your own personal money or
where's the money coming from? You can't make over $500,000 and own a franchise and donate $200,000.
Okay, but that's going to be coming from but at the same time, it's legal for them to do that because if
they're not saying my name is Bill and I'm donating money. They said Taco Bell is donating money.
They are.
Their franchise is donating money.
So they're labeling it as that on purpose, and they're not doing under Bill, Terry, or Janice.
Do you know I used to love Taco Bell? One of my greatest mentors used to love Taco Bell, and I can't go to Taco Bell. We accidentally, on purpose, went to a Taco Bell 2 weeks ago because we hadn't gone for 7 months.
No, it was just because Taco Time's line was like around the block in the corner. We did not have any of that time.
Is anybody else
and
experiencing
Taco Bell was
long
across
lines?
the street. What?
A lot of people were probably experiencing a lot of long lines because of the pandemic. Because you can't really do a lot of things. You got to go do what we're doing, feeding your family inside the car.
Well, a lot of stuff is open back up again, so
Yeah, maybe.
Not opened fully back up again, but they've opened up with all of the regulations and masking and distancing. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so Home Depot,
Different parts of the
Kroger,
country.
Taco Bell have been donating. The people have been donating. I mean, they're donating money to other candidates. People are doing what they do. You brought up a fine point. Like, isn't it just okay? It is legal to donate.
No,
money.
I'm not. I do not believe that it's okay. I was just doing that to, what is it called? Beg the question.
Beg the question, juxtaposition.
What's that called? Like the devil's advocate. That's the way to say it.
All of them opposites trap.
I think it's not okay.
Yeah, I feel you.
Also, the thing that comes to light for me in reflecting on those businesses is, who are the large companies and who are the big companies and corporations who have made it a point to put social justice efforts forward and who have proclaimed Black Lives Matter and who are actually following through. Like, they're not just like propping that up to make themselves like look good and get certain people to come work for them, right? And to like attract a certain type of employee or whatever. But they're actually putting forth the effort and being transparent with the public about, racial diversity, any other diversity too. But since this is borderline racist marriage, racial diversity.
No, yeah, you're right.
And, I mean, and it runs the gamut, right? Some companies, maybe they only meet with a DEI specialist or like a professional once a year. And in this, whatever circles that I've found myself in or brought myself into, like, that sucks. Like, if you feel, if you're hiring somebody to come into your institution or your corporation or your business, I'm going to bring in institutions too, because a lot of schools do this, private schools hire like a DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. I think we've talked about that before. And they hire somebody to come in like once a year, maybe twice a year, and they like do a presentation and everybody breaks off into little workshops and that's it. And then boom, like, okay, well, yes. And pat themselves on their back. That sucks. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why we ended up the school that we're at now, is because like they don't handle things like that. They actually have somebody who is an employee who it's daily worked on in the institution. Anyways, those for corporations and businesses too. Taco Bell, KFC, and Home Depot could easily say, we believe that these things happen. This is why our company is still screwed up in it. Because a lot of the companies will actually make a statement.
Yeah, like Starbucks tried to when they messed up. God, those guys are funny.
They'll make a statement about like how they can do better and how they're messed up. Like, oh, look, we really are racist. These are the ways that we want to change. This is what we're doing, and they'll do that or whatever. But or they won't, or they'll. Who knows? But I mean, I would say like Home Depot, right? We did the research, right? I'm like, Home Depot is,
what?
Apparently racist, and like whoever donated money to Trump. But Lowe's, on the other hand.
Yeah, what does it say about Lowe's and Home Depot?
It said Home Depot donated millions to Donald Trump.
Billions?
Millions.
Okay, hearing otosclerosis. Otosclerosis, I was like, dang.
Watch out, she was about to jump through everything.
While Lowe's donated $25 million to help the minority-owned businesses to reopen.
Can I speak first? Wow. It's supposed to speak first because $25 million, not to their company, to do the things the dance you were talking about, not to a candidate, not even doing that, not even being political, but to minority-owned businesses.
Put your money where your mouth is.
$25 million is a lot of $1 bills. I don't know how they did that either, but I believe that was probably real.
I believe that we should be going more to Lowe's, even though Home Depot's closer to us.
And I don't disagree, but when you go to Lowe's, their lighting section, like, it's super, what is it, halogenic? It's hella halogenic. Home Depot has an orange tint, yellowish tone to it, maybe because of the lofty ceilings. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Okay, never mind.
Countdown of 5 sillies till we lose them.
But it's true. It's not. Lowe's is different. They have different.
Lowe's is very different. It is different.
But this is the thing is that
it's more expensive on the whole, is what my experience is.
I have a thing that I didn't want to do too much of a dance on, but I'm going to try my best to keep it concise. When I think about what people might take from something like this, or something they might read on their Facebook, Instagrams, or whatever, when they're like, how do I help? I hear you. I want to know how I participate. And I don't want to have it be as big as a word as boycott. But what I'm thinking is, when you hear that something like this is happening with Taco Bell, Kroger, or Home Depot, or even when Starbucks was doing it, at the least start making phone calls. Can you tell me why? Is this something that you guys are changing? Is there any kind of public statement that I can find? Why would you allow this to go on this way? Like, make the phone calls if it's something you're looking for, or you can just boycott them all the way around. But be very, in my opinion, be very social media vocal about what you're doing and what your opinion is, because that just helps.
Publicly vocal.
Publicly vocal. It helps people feel that are involved, working for them. Gosh, your situation, your friend
Kroger. Yes, my friend was sent home just last night from QFC.
Sent home, that's right.
Sent home last night from her shift at work at QFC in downtown Seattle. It's known as the Uptown QFC.
Wow.
And was sent home last night by her manager, by the night shift manager, and for wearing Black Lives Matter mask. And now this is an ongoing thing with Kroger across the whole entire country. And Kroger is like Fred Meyer's, QFC here. I know it's Ralph's, like down in California or like
Ralph's,
that.
Yeah.
There's a number, so you can look up Kroger and see like in which part of your region those grocery stores are. It's a grocery company.
Right.
Was sent home. She was sent home last night for wearing it and refusing. And it's been an ongoing thing. So just last weekend they had a protest. So now the APRI group here, APRI. Oh geez, will you look that up for me really quick?
APRI?
Yes, APRI. Did I screw that up? Am I mispronouncing it?
What's the acronym?
That's what I'm trying to.
Oh, you're trying to figure it out?
I was like, oh no, it's Ralph, the name of the activists. Capital APRI. Forgive me, my brain is mush tonight. APRI, really quick.
You got it?
Just look that up.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to can I say something while we're waiting for that little moment and you're catching your thought?
So that local group, and also the their union, the UFC is at 21. Me and all my forgetfulnesses. I apologize. But their union backs them up. Their grocery union, at least here locally, backs them up, and they just had a protest last week because they've got warnings, and now she got sent home last night. And so
the union is protesting the situation
with the workers. The union standing with the workers.
Got it.
And has even made pins that say Black Lives Matter. They're standing with Black Lives Matter and their workers. Because Black Lives Matter has gotten construed into being a political thing when it's not. It's a human rights thing.
Well, it's also gotten more than political. They think that it's more like I'm going to use the word that's being used on the far right. It's more like a terrorist thing.
Right.
It's a threat.
That's Trump again. That's Trump again. That's that racist jerk again. Well, 45. I don't even usually say his name.
I'm talking about regular people that are far right. They're
listening to Trump.
No, they're listening to their peers.
Okay, their peers who were listening to Trump. Whatever. It's 45. No, 45 made a proclamation about they're a terrorist. They started doing that, and then everybody else.
I understand, but I think that people are falling back on the Linux
thing about it being political.
People are following people, and they're following the wrong people.
Yeah, that's true.
Gosh, there's so many.
But anyways, my friend, very bold.
Did she
went
wear it
on
upside
social
down?
media. I have no idea. I haven't talked to her yet. I'm getting together with her hopefully on Tuesday. But was very bold, put it out on social media, made it public. She has been very open about it all, and we got people calling in, or at least trying to call in, call in, flood the phone lines, flood the email lines.
What do you say to the people that are like, well, why does that have a place in such a nondescript environment whereby every type of person comes to shop? What if I am scared?
Because racism is having a place in every single nondescript nook and cranny.
I'm talking about
where we are.
I'm talking
unless
about
it doesn't. Unless.
What if I'm an old white, grandmother with my wit? I'm an old white grandmother with my wit, and I have had a lot of friends and people that were of color, but I am scared because it seems like there's a lot of Black Lives Matter people are antagonists now to me. I'm not saying that I'm trying to give a scenario, but they walk around.
I'd say if you actually know Black Lives Matter like people who are involved,
They don't.
then if they don't, then I would just say that they are just sadly misinformed and fearful. Like it doesn't matter what age you are if you're.
So let me ask you a question: the uncomfortability that I think that I would like to see my friends and people I don't know that are Caucasian. I would
be
like.
mindful.
I'm perfectly mindful, but if you interrupt me in my God, dude.
I apologize.
No, you don't. You don't.
Yes,
apologize.
I do. I counted it down for 5 minutes.
You didn't have to do that. Like I can't even use what I was about to say. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
you can.
No, I can't. That's not how it works.
Yes, you can. You can still use it. We can do our pause like
It's
you
like
said we were
dropping
going to
the
do.
ball in the middle of a. I don't know. Anyway, can you understand? Can you please understand how that can't happen? Don't worry. If she leaves right now, we're still good. If she just walked away, we're fine. Don't ever do that. That doesn't make sense. I mean that with love. Like, come on.
Well, you didn't say that. You didn't say don't interrupt me when you know.
But why do you think you need to interrupt me?
Because you and I talked about taking a break. We actually had a plan. That's why. Because we had a plan. You and I had a plan.
Oh, right now. Okay.
Okay. Well, you and I had a plan.
For the acronym,
Yes.
it is A. Philip Randolph Institute.
A. Philip Randolph Institute.
What is it?
What is it?
Yeah.
That's going to take time to go into.
I just want to know what it is. What does A. Philip Randolph Institute sort of mean? Do you know?
APRI is an organization of black trade
Union.
unionist.
Unionist.
Yeah.
Unionist.
Yes. To fight for racial equality and economic justice.
Okay. So you were saying that they are affiliated with this push to help support people that are in this
No,
situation?
specifically Kroger in Seattle, in King County. But yes, there's different chapters of that group.
Yeah.
All across. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. That's good. You want to do some discussing and you want to do some arguing, I see, so let's do it. Which point do you want to argue first?
I don't want to argue. I want to discuss.
What do you want to discuss?
It doesn't have to be an argument.
Okay, what do you want to discuss?
Me cutting you off.
Okay.
We're going to discuss that.
You want to... Okay.
Right? Or no? You don't want to discuss it.
I know, it's fine. I have one thing I can say about what happened. I was talking and then I was stopped. And you might say that I have reasons for stopping you, but you still stopped me. So you can discuss all you want about what it is that happened. I didn't have to get cut off for this time, for us to be where we are.
So what's the position again? I can't remember what.
All I was doing was talking.
I can't remember what we call the, M's position. What is that? You're calling it something.
Associate producer person.
Okay. Is that what
you want to tell people that? That's like, gosh.
Yeah, what?
I don't want to. Like, that's not the
you
part
don't want to what?
It's not, I would rather have the show be like, the illusion is that no matter what, this is happening. The show. They don't know how many cameras are here. They can't see any of the lights.
Well, there's got to be context.
She can be here or not here, or
that.
quiet or not quiet.
Oh, but there needs to be way more context than that. Okay, so then if you don't want to start talking about that, what we can start talking about is how, or way earlier, we talked about how we knew that about halfway or partway through filming, our associate producer person was going to need to leave, and that we would take a pause when that needed to happen. That was an agreement. We actually had the conversation, correct?
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So that was a conversation that we had right before doing this. And then I was taking a quick look at the time and called out, okay, in about 5 minutes. You heard me say that, right? I don't know if you did or not. I'm asking you.
Okay.
Did you hear me say?
Yes, I didn't need you to say that, but okay, I heard you say it. And get to your
You didn't need me to say it because you were looking at the time too.
I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at the person, and I know that I naturally need to create a progression anyway. So I'm understanding the environment.
And then the talking went a couple minutes over that time.
Yep.
And then the talking kept on going into minutes over that time. And
she
so
was
before you started going into what you were going to say next, I was going to follow through on what you and I agreed to doing.
Okay.
Which was to stop and take our pause, and then she leaves. And then hopefully, we'd open back up just with you saying whatever you were going to say, and we would carry on our show.
All right. Well, as long as you feel better about
No, I'm not. I don't feel better because obviously you were upset. You were very upset.
I'm just disappointed because it doesn't need to happen that way. It didn't need to, and it happened. And that's okay. It doesn't need to happen that way at all. Not at all. I mean, and halfway is because we haven't all like powwowed because we're doing something that's brand new. But as an example, I said to her at the very beginning, you can go to the bathroom whenever you want. In the first episode that she was involved with us, she went to the bathroom and it makes noise and I'm not worried about it. I note it in my head. She was going to the bathroom at this time so I can think about it when I'm editing.
Okay, well, I didn't know that you and her had that meeting.
But it's not imperative. The point is, she knows she's going to be going, and that's okay if she had just got up and left. But
I don't know that.
Okay. So, but
if that's an agreement you two have, then I don't know that, and I don't know that. Then I'm going to be mindful of her time, and I'm going to be like, okay.
But the overbearing point is that you just are super comfortable. Like that blows my mind that you interrupted me in the middle of what I was saying. That subject matter it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, this is so this is a marriage thing. This is a cultural thing and a marriage thing, correct?
I don't know. You
don't know if time and timing and how time is managed or how time passes or how people.
That's racist as fuck. Like if you're gonna say that, if you're willing to say I'm racist and I'm gonna talk about time and how black people don't manage time and I know how to because I'm white and I'm me.
That's not what I was gonna say.
Oh, well, that's what you should say. So why would we have a conversation about time?
Why is that what I should say?
Because what would be the subject matter that we'd bring up about time?
We'd bring up how different cultures deal with different times, and it's not just specific to black and white, but we can't only speak what's specific to our own and our own experiences of it, and we can speak to how that has been a difficult thing in our marriage for us.
She believes that she's always on time.
No, I never said that either.
Oh, I'm just trying to
saying that. Can we not put words into my mouth?
You take words out of my mouth, I'm going to put words into your mouth. How about that? Tell me what you want to say. Like, be clear.
So you do want to argue?
No, I just want like this is a microcosm of you're not clear. You haven't been clear.
Speak for me, and that's not okay.
Interrupting a black person when they're talking about black things is speaking for them.
Leonard, it was already see, here's the thing. It was already way over the time, and we know how important it was that they needed to leave tonight. That she needed to leave tonight. So, like. I feel like it's, and on top of that, like if we hadn't agreed on anything, then I probably wouldn't have stopped anything. We agreed that there would be a pause and a stop and that we would be mindful of that. You and I had an agreement that we would be mindful of that and do it.
The person that was leaving was comfortable.
And then you changed.
The person that was leaving, which is the most important person in that part of the subject, was comfortable and did not have a problem with it. And
how do you know?
Because I knew. I actually, in the middle of you talking earlier, I just checked on her. Like, I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to do.
How do you know she's comfortable?
Because I just asked her. I looked over there and asked her when in the middle of our shooting, when you were doing some talking. When I knew I was going to frame you.
I was doing some talking, yes. And you two were doing something that I couldn't pay attention to. Everything was fine. How am I supposed to know that? If you don't tell me that and catch me up on whatever it is, then I don't know. And I'm going to follow through on whatever the agreement is. If I don't have the information that you have...
There's so much information that's happening inside of this thing that I know how to do a little bit. If I move further away from you, I'm creating space so I can isolate you. If I'm stepping back, I know that I've done too much.
Well, that's the difference between us. You've worked in professional film productions, and you're a professional as far as like filming in the film industry.
So it sounds like you want... Do I need to apologize for something?
What? No.
Okay, so then can we move on? I don't have anything to say about a subject matter.
I thought we would maybe get into a cool conversation about like how timing has been a big issue in our marriage, and maybe other people out there who are in interracial marriages have had a similar experience, or maybe not.
To me, that whole subject matter, the idea of it, sounds racist. Because there's only one. It
doesn't just sound like there are cultural differences, and sometimes that creates friction in a marriage of two people who are marrying each other from different.
Because
cultures?
I can't ever have anybody, including you, go, yeah, I'm too rigid because that's what I was taught, and it's a problem for how the rest of the world works.
That's exactly how we talked about it in marriage counseling. And then you also then would say, well, this is my experience and what I come from, and maybe it's that, and then we find a medium.
I don't know. Okay.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
We were there for marriage counseling.
Yeah, I didn't find any medium. I didn't find any median or medium from having that conversation.
What do you mean you didn't?
I did not find any kind of balance over the subject matter. I still think
we don't have as many issues. Like, we haven't had issues for years on like.
Yeah, but definitely know that how much, just like you might I suppress how I really feel about how you're still hypocritical about how you manage time versus how I manage time.
No,
or where
you are
want me to
very vocal about your.
I'm not vocal I'm not vocal as I am.
You are very vocal.
No, I'm not as vocal as I have been in the past, nor have I vocal.
Maybe not as vocal as you have been in the past, but you are vocal about it.
Yeah.
You are very vocal about it. You're still very vocal about it.
I'm glad that I am.
You're saying you're suppressive of it, and you're not.
Okay. I'm not suppressive of it, even though I know the truth about how suppressive I am about it. So this comes to like arguments. Like I can argue it all the time, or I can argue. So like the same thing you might do with me. There's things that you can argue with or be upset about, and vocally stress that every single time.
You let things go. I've learned that
battles.
I don't pick your battles. Like this conversation is a battle I didn't pick. I don't even want to talk about it. Matter of fact, I don't even want to use any of the things we just said because it's not important as much as it was. The moment was important. And yes, we're talking about it. Maybe we have some understanding now, but I'm not going to use this because it doesn't do anything. I'll probably use part of it if it works. But that's not the subject matter to me.
You don't think it does anything to speak about something that we've had issues with or problems with that's intimate or personal about us?
I think so if you really want to know how I really feel, which I'm not really telling about how I really feel. I think you're making it up an excuse about something that you have a problem with that you never change. You just are too, just like you apologize to me. Like I feel like actually embarrassed that I was saying thank you. Because I realize you don't seem to pay attention. You don't care. You interrupted me full-heartedly. You didn't have to. There's nothing that made that
just
possible
now,
today. Yeah.
I did feel like I had to because you didn't stop
You're
when
not
there
even,
was a space to stop to do what we agreed to do.
In this moment, even still in this moment,
you did not.
You could have waited 3 more minutes and you didn't.
What?
You could have waited 3 more minutes and you didn't.
What do you mean? You
have the choice at any moment to make a choice to go, let's stop and let me remind you about time. And you could have waited 3 more minutes till it was even more uncomfortable if it was uncomfortable. The only person that was really willing to do something...
But there was a break in conversation.
No, I was talking the whole time. And you stopped me from talking.
We can watch the footage together.
It's a fact. Like, I literally was saying something.
But you started to say something else. Like there was a stop and then you were going to start onto something else. Like there was a complete thought and a complete sentence and a complete... And then a new thought or a new thing.
Let's take a beat. I'm gonna play it back. And we're back again. Alright, so in our little break, 2 things were pointed out to me that I have to address. One of them is I have to address that because time was important to the subject of how we were going to do today's show and having our associate producer leave, that by communicating to my associate producer but not communicating to Tukwila, that left her in a position of not being aware of what was established, and that's why interrupting happened. It wasn't because I was saying another subject that bored Tukwila or that I was doing another tangent.
No, I was looking forward to hearing whatever it is that you were saying about it.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that we could come back and then carry on our conversation, do like a quick little, this is what we were talking about right before we left, and then go back into it because it was I felt like we were just getting into some things.
And I am left with the feeling of, it being more than that. And I have to actually sit back in myself and go, am I overreacting internally because it feels like she's cutting me off like she does, marriage-wise? Race-wise. And I'm stuck with feeling like... I'm feeling maybe like everybody feels whenever they really want to make a point and they're not heard. I feel unheard, I feel disrespected, and I feel not honored. I'm not honored because I had the attention on the detail, disrespected because it was kind of, it's just a mood shifter and it wasn't really paying the respect of what I was just speaking out loud about. And then I wasn't heard because I wasn't, that part wasn't being listened to. Yet she was trying to keep time, and like you were saying, and addressing the differences and maybe cultural differences in time. I can say
I know time was sensitive.
Time is sensitive
to the person who needed to go. So.
Is that what you want? But you're just talking about. I'm going to the global reality or the racial reality about how time is different. What is your point of reflection on time and how important it is to certain races, cultures, and people.
I'm not. What? That's not. I feel like you're interviewing me right now.
Okay. Let's get to a place to where you're comfortable. Let's get to a place where you're comfortable when you're not interviewed. What is it?
This isn't going to be a comfortable conversation.
Okay, then just start talking. I'm talking.
I don't need to get to a place where I'm comfortable.
Okay. Well, I already said I'm uncomfortable with the subject of anybody talking about time as a point of reference and how it's different culturally. I think that that's rude, if it's not racist. I think it's rude for any white person to be like, well, yeah, there's difference in how we do it and you do it. That's not anything but, if it's just rude, then that's great, but it's not just rude.
So you believe acknowledging differences between cultures, you think acknowledging the differences in cultures is racist? How different cultures perceive or move through, or,
Oh, help me, elaborate.
Social norms.
So the social norms.
I'm just wondering if you I'm just trying to clarify. Am I hearing you right? That acknowledging those differences is racist?
I'd be open to say yes, because I can say that in regards to
curious. I'm curious about that. I'm curious about how it's racist.
When anyone like you enjoys the idea of something like social norms, that phrase. I like to make the question, how long has anything social been a norm? Are you talking about what we've developed?
Cultural norms. There we go.
Yeah,
Let's not talk about social norms. Our
cultural norms in the last 100 years approved this message, I want to say. Time is really important because in the last 100 years we invented the watch. And that's why it's important. Is that what you want to say a social norm is? We're dealing with social norms based upon what's happened in the last 100 years. So now we follow that rule? Whereas if you look at every other culture on the planet...
have different norms.
So what is your culture? What is my culture? What are we doing? What is our cultural norm?
So what do you
when you run your own business, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're an artist, what is the difference between that cultural norm and someone who has to go to work at 9 to 5?
I'm talking about
white and black? I'm asking.
Ethnic cultural norms? Is that
Well, I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I believe that at the least it's rude when anybody
in some cultures,
of color, colors, talks about time.
In some cultures, and not even just black cultures or African American cultures specifically, it's super normal to be late and for things to start late.
Yes, it is true. Therefore, they're not looking at anything other than what they're looking at.
To start later than a time agreed on for it to start.
Okay.
Okay.
And they are very comfortable in that space. Our Latino brothers and sisters are comfortable in that space. A lot of cultures rather take a meal before they think about anything that has to do with business.
And I would say white people are like, boop-a-doop, on time.
And is one better or worse?
Like, you get fired for being late too much, right?
Okay. You don't get fired in other cultures.
Correct. So I don't know, honestly.
They're not getting fired in Africa for showing up late.
For showing up late, okay.
I work in Africa as well. They're not getting fired in Mexico.
Is there you got to call in if you're running late?
Call in with no phone? They got to go to work. They come from wherever they come from.
At home.
I'm just saying that there's a large percentage of cultures that don't have those natural cultural norms that we're trying to say that are so important. They're just developed in the last 100 years. I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about anybody that marries themselves to the idea that cultural norms is where we need to be.
I would say that, because we've talked about that, that's caused friction in our marriage. The norm of being late all the time and the norm of being on time and seeing time, as being on time is a respect. It shows respect and value for people's time.
But you're saying that
is that a cultural thing, or is that a personal thing, or where does it, does it intersect somewhere, or
By deduction, you're saying that not showing up on time is not respect. And you're not...
In white culture, I'm saying that.
Okay, so that
it is disrespectful to show up late consistently.
And I mean this in respect to your...
Without calling ahead and being like, hey, I'm running late.
So then there is something to be said about anybody in white America that is upset right now because a lot of the other cultures, like Latino or African American specifically, I'll just use those two, because they have so many different cultural norms in white America, when they do show up late, they're very frustrated, in part because it seems rude that they're for showing up late, and it seems like they're falling victim to their social cultural norms, and what they rather have is assimilation to the cultural norm that is the standard in America, with 70% of the America being Caucasian.
Let's wrap it into privilege then, like that term of privilege.
You can do any one wrapping you want to.
Like people who don't have certain obstacles, blah blah blah. It's like easier for them to show, like, to whatever. I don't know. Okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
And I am hearing that you're throwing it out there. And I said what I said about it because I don't. It is not a disrespect.
Like maybe that's why it's a part of white culture. Norms to be to value time and be on time and that it's a thing.
And I'm literally saying, how long has it been a part of white culture's norm?
I have no idea.
And why is it so imperative?
I know it's at least been a part of the norms for at least the last couple of generations. 2-3 generations.
To show up and punch a time clock, yes. That's true.
To show up on time for your appointments. To show up on time for work. Yeah.
The industrial area, America has...
Show up on time for dinner. Show up on time for...
On time for dinner.
On time.
There was a time not that long ago. I consider 100 years not that long ago, where you would show up for dinner before you'd be going to bed when the sun went down, and you'd be showing up for supper.
Well, that has to do with electricity too, doesn't it?
No, that was just people were just following the last 100 years. 100 years ago,
From what I understood, people started staying awake later. You're talking about going to bed when the sun goes down because people didn't have electricity.
So, since it's an area of contention inside of our marriage, or maybe an area of contention inside of the nation, of time, and there's probably people that are going, well, if Barack Obama can show up on time, why can't you? I'm sure that joke got said one time in the green room. That's me being funny. That's me being funny. But, then the question I asked is so what is the rub? Since this is a dynamic that is in cultural studies, in anthropology, in sociology, they literally talk about if you're going to do in business by the MBAs, if you're going to do business in this region, here's what you will expect. And please get yourself acclimated to said expectation. Because it's not a threat to you that these things will happen. They will have a meal or offer a drink or have you come to their house before they engage in any business. They will not sign a document, but they will give you their eyes, not their handshake. These are cultural norms in other regions. And here we are trying to have this dichotomy of am I threatening you by being late?
No.
But because you want to show respect based upon the cultural norm, that causes a problem because you really have to address it that way.
Here's what I would suggest. I would suggest that I'm anxious about time.
Yes.
So I feel like...
But you're also more than anxious because of the other thing that is, that happens. Well, your operant history, the things that the traumas that you were put on you, created anxieties that help, unfortunately, accelerate your anxiousness
about time.
And that's not fair to you, but that's
it's built in. That's like operant conditioning, it's kind of what we're talking about now, stuff that gets built in before you're 3 years old or 5 years old or whatever. 6 years old. Look it up. That's what Google is for. Look up operant conditioning. That's what
Google's for, because Google's the truth. So you were saying, I'm sorry, but you were saying that...
I'm glad... See this, I'm glad that we decided to push through the tough parts of this conversation and what happened to talk about it. Because, I wish that you remembered what you said. I still wish that I could hear what you said. And maybe if I wasn't so, I get nervous because it's so operantly tied up for respect and timing.
At the cost of disrespect? I just don't get it. I'm so sorry. I am not white. And here, let me give you an example.
Here's the interesting thing, because I thought that I was being respectful by waiting for a break in whatever you were saying and letting the time go over the time to try to jump in.
I'm thinking about when I said
try to jump in and go, okay,
when I said I'm not white, I'm thinking I can. God, I don't want to cry again. When I'm talking about I'm not white, I'm not talking about just me. and I'm going to talk about my matriarchal dictatorship here. My Aunt Violet, my mother, my Aunt Gloria, my Aunt Willa Mae, all of them, and I'm sorry if I didn't list them, my women in my cortex in my life, Aunt Sandra. When you or a person interrupts at the cost of a norm, and I'm talking about a generality, I'm kind of marrying it to the truth about what just happened. The interruptions at the cost of, even though it's quote unquote anxiety ridden, or it's also
well, I don't know. I was exploring it being that. I mean, is there some kind of a balance in between those things too?
And what I'm saying, at the cost of, this is where I wonder what's really going on in this systemic racism.
All right.
Is at the cost of literally crushing the norms of this whole group of people, this whole cultural reality. Latino people are not out there harming nobody when they're in their work and their job. I mean, they may have their own afflictions like they do at home. They're raising a family, they're taking care of it, and it's important for them. Them showing up late, like you were kind of touching on just a moment ago, could be because of how them showing up late could be all the things they had to do just to get there on time.
Norm
in the Latino community?
I don't know if it is or if it isn't.
My point is, I'm just marrying black people and Latinos together. And that's what I'm doing. I'm only going off my experience. Like, I worked on a luxury train, and we had Puerto Ricans on there, and they were never on time. You guys know who you are. I'm not going to say your names, but you guys, I love them like brothers. They worked on this luxury train, and they were the ones engineers. They did, a couple of them were chefs, sous chefs, never on time. And you know what? It was good to me, but spiritually, the bosses, the employers, their higher ups, which was myself, our children's godfather, who was mixed, and Rut Palamontre, who was like the head of the whole thing. He's Filipino. Yeah, Filipino. All of those people knew what they were doing culturally because we were all cultured, and their norms were our norms. You see what I'm trying to get at the point, like when you have the higher up and you have the circle of truth being this Anglo-Saxon, likely white group looking at these people and saying, you're being rude, but you're going to be rude enough to say, you're bad and you're wrong and you don't know what you're doing and you're not worth the job and you have no respect. I have so much respect for this job. It's more than everything for me. I care about this conversation. It's more than everything for me because it helps me feel comfortable with you and helps me feel comfortable in front of my kids.
What is right then? Like, is it right to be
because we're not intentionally trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
Earthly, timely, or is it more right to be more in a natural groove of time? Natural groove of time, or like we joked about how like you're on God's time.
Yeah,
I mean that was one of the interesting things, like you really, like, you know what I mean? Like,
there was a time when I was on sabbatical. I was on a sabbatical for a few years, where I had a couple of liberties that allowed me to just move through life. I'm talking about where I had money in my bank account and I was able to go where I wanted to be and be where I wanted to be on any time that was. And I was trying to be of service. That's a fact for me. So when we met, I was in that space, and that was very weird for me too. I would just show up wherever a phone call came through, and I was like, yeah, I'm on God's time. I'm out here trying to do some service. I was trying to clean myself of some of the things that, that's my own personal story. But yeah.
Is it like timeliness? Is it an assimilation to white culture and white culture only? Is it, I mean, it's an interesting, I don't know the answers.
I don't say I know the answers, but what I don't like, what it feels like is like, and I don't like putting you in the position of all white humans that are out there in the world.
Can't.
But it is painful
can do that
to hear this argument over and over again. Yes, when I go to my job, I should show up on time. But real talk is, and everybody that works knows that they're not working 7.5 hours or 7 hours out of their 8-hour day. Say you have an hour lunch or a half an hour lunch. You know for a fact you're not working from the moment you get into your clocked time in to the moment you leave. Why are we there for 7 hours? And this pandemic
has been a study. They've been doing studies, right?
Shit, yeah. And this pandemic's proven as a fact. Not that people want to be working from home, but you do not need to be working that hard as you've been working.
Well, doing like 4 days. There have been companies that have toyed with that.
Toyed with what?
With shorter work days or shorter work weeks, and then people are more productive
Absolutely.
And
When
the
a short
company
time.
makes more money.
More money when you actually go and work for a short amount of time.
Yeah, when you're not like running everybody ragged for 12 hours a
So
day.
there's only one
interesting
time that I
conversation.
experimented. I'll give two things that happened with me. One time when I worked for Warner Brothers. This is after I worked for the other one. When I worked for Warner Brothers, am I doing something wrong?
Nope, I just wanted to say something.
Okay, please. Yeah. Sorry.
I just wanted to say something before we moved on and down the road of this. So if we're going to move on and down the road, then I want to...
No, I'm going to talk about time. Go ahead.
Okay, so before we like get off of like how it made you feel or too far away from how it made you feel, there's something going on out there that has to be done whenever there's something like racism or any of the isms.
Well, so now I want to talk
No. It's to put intention cannot come first over somebody's feelings. So the simple fact that you felt the way that you did has to come before whatever intention I might have had. Does that make sense?
I totally agree.
And that's a practice that I'm sucking at right now, or that I suck at, but that I'm learning to do better in, I hope. And so, what is it? Is it feelings over intention, or is it like the...
That sounds really...
it's not feelings over intention, but it's along those lines. Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
It's like what actually happened. It's experience. Boom, done. Finally remembered it. With my own brain, I remembered that without a person looking it up.
Yeah.
It's experience. It's his experience over whatever my intention was. Oftentimes, like when racism happens, when the microaggressions happen, or like when something like that happens, the intentions were freaking fabulous. The intentions were harmless. The intentions are totally harmless, but the harm that's done sucks. So I gotta apologize to you.
The microaggression is harmless?
No, the intention of the microaggression. The intention. So the person's intention was like... not even the person's intention who's doing the harm. The person who's doing the harm, their intention's fine. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt. So I meant to...
I want to touch your hair.
What
It
do you
looks so curly and so nice and fluffy. You're black and I'm white. This is a microaggression, by the way.
Right. Okay.
So you're saying that intention is... The intentions
I was just being curious. Well, is curiosity a bad thing?
Being curious.
No, curiosity is not a bad thing, and that's why we have to start putting the experience that the person has whose hair is touched over whatever good intention was behind the action,
so or
the words, or the deeds.
For a brief moment, I thought...
Thoughts, words, or deeds.
For a brief moment, I thought...
getting into the thoughts.
For a brief moment, I thought you were trying to address... I still think you were trying to address that we need to have a way to put that emotion ahead of the intention so that we can hear...
The experience
of it all.
And the emotions that came about because...
But when is that... See, this is the thing that I hate about this time.
Okay.
Because I love that you can say that, and I could probably Google it, and people over there that are, not of color are thinking what you said, like thinking about how I like to put the feeling before the intention. But where the hell is this happening? In my workplace, in my kids' school, where they're in a predominantly white school, on the street with the police officer. I got pulled over on my feet by an officer in a car leaving Brunington Coat Factory in this marriage. We were married. We were dating.
We were dating.
I got pulled over on my feet walking approximately barely 100 yards from where this store is and where our apartment was. And he pulled his car up, hand on his gun, and his door open. And I'm talking this way because I know a lot about policing, and I know some of my peers know a lot about policing. And so his door's open, he's behind his car door, his hand on his gun. Everybody knows that he's already skipped to level 2, if not moving towards 3. He was not aggressive in his expression, but he's aggressive in his tone. So you already know if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, he pulled me over. Microaggression. So I'm going into how crazy this is. We were arguing, and I was emotional. In my feelings, and I don't get to talk about my feelings, but I know in the moment that he does this stop and he has the lights on me. He says, "Hey, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Are you coming from the store?" I have to I'm on tilt emotionally in the world. I got bills to pay. I got a girlfriend that we're having arguments with. I did walk over here to take a breather, which I'm just looking in there just for time, just to kill time. And I'm being addressed by this officer on serious aggression. And I know he did it for a reason, because I'm black. And it turns out a black person... No, this is not the same one as a black person.
That,
a white
I
person.
was with you when
yeah,
they pulled us over that time.
That was different. He said there has been robberies, he used the word robbery, from Burlington Coat Factory. First of all, robbery as a word means that there's a weapon involved from Burlington Coat Factory. I was in loss prevention for years. Years I was in loss prevention. Some of it where people didn't even know I was working for the company, and I was, what do you call it, secret shopper, where you walk into a store, you shop, and you try to see if you can move stuff or find out if they can move stuff for you. I did that stuff. And I knew for a fact, him saying robber, him having his hand on his gun, even if it was true, I see no police officers in the area for the robber with the weapon. And I said to him, with aggression, I know that you're pulling me over because I'm black. He said, whoa, you jumped to that pretty fast. Now, I bring that up, it got de-escalated by me saying, you're going to stand there with whatever God you got in you. I'm sure you got kids. I'm sure you're a good dude on a regular basis. But the fact that you're talking to me and you know I'm articulating that I'm upset. I'm upset because I had an argument with my girlfriend. I was talking like that to him. And he can tell that I'm like in my feelings. I will give him the credit because he could have done all kinds of harm to me. But what he did do is he heard my emotion. But what he didn't need to do is address me as a black man in that way. Zero pretense. At least, I mean, I don't know what he saw in his computer, if it was true or not. It felt like a lie.
It was the same story they gave to us when I was pulled over with you.
Right. And I brought this thing up kind of like to put it in. That's the level of what we're dealing with in America. That's why people are so mad in the streets anyway right now, because it keeps happening in the worst places. If I am emotional as a male in my workplace, it's not valued as imbalanced, lack of food. Like, you need to just take a breather. Go have a smoke break. I've heard that so many times. I didn't smoke, and I couldn't take a smoke break in my young career. I don't know what that's about. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around in subject, but that was weird. I didn't like that. You can go take a 15-minute, man, Tim Mullen, I'm saying names out here. You can take smoke breaks, 2 of them. I think you had 2 or 3 you could go take a 15-minute smoke break.
I thought it was just 15-minute breaks. Like, you got, okay, so in an 8-hour period of work, you get 15, half an hour, an hour, and
so
another
15-minute break, a smoke break was a 15
9-hour work.
But you can take a smoke. No offense, Tim Mullen, I'm sorry for doing that.
It's just called breaks.
But
some people smoke so they'd go take...
Right, I couldn't go outside to get air, but you can go smoke a cigarette. That's a paradox I didn't like.
I don't understand.
It's still a thing, though. Right? I think it's still a thing. I think in restaurants specifically, and someone can...
I think people just get whatever breaks they get, and they do whatever they do with them.
Oh, but
like all the employees get the same break. That's what I'm thinking things are like now. I don't know where you worked or what that is, but I know.
So you never had anybody going, you and yourself, you smoke cigarettes. You never been like, I gotta take a smoke break? I would like to see a little smoke break. You didn't never say
no, never. I couldn't.
You did it on your 15s?
I did it on whatever breaks were allotted. Nobody could do any of that at any of the jobs that I ever.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think that I'm lying about the idea that I saw people take smoke breaks and then I couldn't take any breaks whenever they took breaks?
Absolutely not. But I'm wondering, like.
So this is the reason why what I'm saying is that I had the question.
No, I thought you were asking about it now. I think that it's probably
nibbed in the butt.
I think, yeah, because like you can't even smoke within 25 feet of doors and stuff, and people get all whatever about it now, as far as like smoking is concerned.
I would love to know.
But no, I believe you. There's like, why on earth would you lie about something so trivial?
What I was trying to get to is like, it seems like things are when you're black. That's all I can talk about. It does feel, if we're talking about putting the feelings before the intention, a lot of stuff is like intended to mess with us.
Yes.
It seems like it doesn't make sense. Like, that didn't seem like that was right. We were looking at Halloween stuff, and there's a lady. I mean, she couldn't tell. I can't tell she can't see me in the car or not. She probably can't. You know, the lady was looking out at the car. She's probably just looking. We pulled up.
Oh, tonight when we're driving around looking at Halloween decorations. Because Halloween's next up.
Yeah. And I am sitting here pretty much on a regular basis going, it's because I'm black. Halfway because it's a joke to say, but real talk, it is their truth to say. Especially if I'm alone in the car. Damn it. Like, I can't tell.
Oh my gosh, the looks in the neighborhoods.
I guarantee
when we drive up to friends' houses, the looks from the neighbors in the freaking neighborhoods and the people walking down the street. Jeez Louise.
I know black people right now, and before 7 months ago, whatever, we do not want to be in our feelings. We don't want to keep thinking that it's like that. We keep getting reminders that it's like that. And that's the hard part. On a level of PTSD or trauma, it's a constant. I can't watch the news if I don't want to experience any kind of visual or verbal trauma related to my race. Period. For these last 7 months. Period. Does that I mean, I'm sure you're responding in a way that's like, I gotta stop this, and I'm gonna do everything I can to stop this BS, and I'm gonna try to help my family and my children not have to live in the world the best I can. That's this jacked up. But it's crazy for the person who's just lived, like, who's 65, who lived through that last run of it, 70 years old, that lived through the last run of this crazy shit. And it's hard to tell, like, do I get to emote? And I kind of chose this to become the activism, but in it's super painful on even the micro level of, like, what was just happening. You just yesterday was talking to me about how it's hard for me not to remember that you were not to remember. It's hard for me not to forget or to forget that you did just apologize for something that felt similar in nature, and then it happened again. So in my emotions, is immediately, like, struck by it, even though an intention was, like, genuine,
different than the other intention was.
Right.
It still has to, but then it still has to be, like, center the experience of what's happening, because that's more important than whatever intention is happening at this time. If it's feeling, if it feels messed up to you, then it feels messed up to you, and that's important.
And not a subject for anything going on today, but I've always kind of internalized, I wonder if people not of color have a very deep-seated lack of trust in people of color.
I was automatically inside of myself was yes.
What they don't have trust.
Was a yes. Yeah. Like I'm just like
so.
It came up. I wasn't even thinking about it. It just went.
Because when I watch people right now who are on the fence, who are probably Republican, but know that this guy's a bad dude, looking at but Biden was with Obama, and what is Obama really willing to do? Like, I feel like there's a lot of doubt that comes circling around when they watch an African American woman be the vice president too. I don't know. But I feel like trust, honesty, coming from the hearts and minds of those that are intersociating with people of color. So if you're a Caucasian, or interact with what people of color, I don't believe you have honest trust in the fact that we can protect, love, share, dance, create, build, construct, and everything else. And there is some inferiority. Is it inferiority? Is that the word? No, that's... Well, what's the word when you feel like more powerful than...
Superior.
Superior.
That's what... White supremacy.
Right, the white supremacy. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, for me, I look at that... I look at that thing that I just created for myself as an actual inferiority, because the same people that might have that supremacy killed, raped, stole, grew, disenfranchised, separated, disassociated, ridiculed, fired people of color. You get what I'm saying? Like, the same person that is like, this is kind of the social norm, actually created a norm whereby
norm in America.
You, the governance, are the worst thing that's ever been on this planet. You in position of power, you the majority. I went to a school, a very predominantly white school, a high school in the Northwest, Washington, and I remember when I was in the Black Student Union, and I was in the actual... maybe my friends can remind me, but I think I was actually in the... what is it called when you have the secretary, the president, the student body? I was in the student body as well. And I went, and they were doing this thing where they were like, the majority of our body was a Caucasian. But then when you look at all the other races that were non-white, it was equal. It was equal by about like a point of 4. Like, it was either... So basically, it wasn't all white.
Right.
When you put it all together,
Right.
and real talk, when you watched everybody that was bebopping around and hanging out,
That's all of America too, though.
they're lying out there,
That's
man.
all of America too.
This is we are part of this country. We all are. I do want to wrap this up because I know we've been spending a lot of time, but I want to say one thing that I said earlier today that I thought I liked. You made me like what I said because I just said it loosely. America's lives matter. And you said after that, which I thought was like, wow, I wish I could have said it that way first. But I said America lives matter, kind of just joking, but true, like not joking, but truthfully, that's what it is. And you're like, well, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives have to matter first for you to understand. Like, it was a very quick thing you said, but like, this is
American life. You said American lives matter.
Right.
And I said, well, Black lives are going to have to matter first then, because, like, if all American lives matter.
Because, I'm sure that everybody gets it, but if you are in America right now and you're not actually understanding what is going on right now, stop killing black people, stop disenfranchising, provide health care where it's needed. So what's all the people that are needing social care, what is it called? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Social care?
You know, like people that are mentally ill, like, you know,
mental health
care. If you're in America and you're not paying attention to this Black Lives Matter movement being about all of that, lifting up all that stuff, then you're not really participating in what we're calling America.
Right, all of it.
I think. And I feel bad because I don't want to I feel bad because, like...
Well, because then they've just fallen victim... I don't know, this is going to be a weird thing to say, but then I feel like they just fallen victim to the white haze. Like the white heterosexual male haze of nonsense. That's... Ooh, it's destructive.
Gosh, man, I feel so sick.
It's destructive.
It's really like... You know, how does it feel as a woman knowing that it's literally white men that are fucking this up?
How does it feel as a white woman knowing it's white men?
Yeah. Or is that even a thing where you like associate it like that? You know what I'm saying? I guess because that's how I see it. I don't know if it's just me being a male going, does it feel weirder to be a white woman and know that white men are really a problem? Or does it not feel weirder?
I don't know because I only can speak for myself. But I don't know about the word weird. It's just it's because
you haven't always thought it is why I say weird. Not just you, but like I think people have always thought it.
I've been disgusted by. I mean, since learning true history, since learning about history from a non-white perspective, a non-white straight male perspective, since learning about that history from those perspectives, I've just been really disgusted and grossed out, especially about being lied to.
Ooh.
Especially about being like, don't lie to me. Like, tell me how fucked up it is, and then, like, let's fix it. You know? But you're gonna lie into, like, my, you know, distortions. It's so distorted. It's so distorted. It's just so distorted. Like, why can't we just learn, like, the facts and not, like, glorify this and and demean that and glorify, like, just be like, well, this person did this and this and this and this, and, like, just say it without the glorification of whatever it is, and let it speak for itself. Let what happens speak for itself. But instead, you're indoctrined to, like, you know,
wow.
From the time you were little, right? Like, I mean, we even, like, stood and pledged our allegiance and, like, did all of these things. And, like, but it's, like, liberty and justice for... I mean, you don't even know what any of those... Where did I see that this week? I saw something... This isn't even my own thought, but I was like, yeah. I was like, when you're 5 and 6 years old, like, you don't even know what most of those words in the Pledge of Allegiance even is. It doesn't even get described to you. Like, why? Like, and I don't think that kids do that anymore in public schools, right? Like, kids are not, and people are angry about it. I
thought that our son's doing it at a Catholic school because I did it in Catholic school. I thought he was doing it.
I don't know. Well, we'd have to ask. We'd have to say, hey, do you guys do that? Well, we don't do it via Zoom.
Oh, good point. Good point.
There's prayer.
Wow.
In the private school. And private Catholic school, of course.
If you stripped away the false masculinity from America or history, I don't know what this world looks like, but I can't imagine it's anywhere close to what it looks like.
But I mean, we're still, like, There's
So
many
much.
people. There's so many. Like, I mean,
What?
there's just still the I don't know when they stopped doing that. It would be interesting if we had M here right now. I'd say, hey M, look up the year that everybody stopped. That it stopped becoming
I don't know
mandatory.
if it was-
I'll bet it's state to
Is it
state.
illegal?
I'll bet in some states they're still pledging allegiance every morning. I'll bet. I mean, that'd be
remember-
interesting to find that information.
We did watch a documentary a while ago where they were doing it in Texas universities. They were talking like
I don't know about, well, I'm talking about, okay, I'm not talking about universities though.
No,
like,
like,
most important thing, I'm talking about
high school,
5 and
sorry,
6 year olds in kindergarten who don't even know what those words mean are getting taught those words and doing it.
well, that was the way that that's the way America was designing itself without race involved. Back when there was
Well, the intention might have been good, but the experience for me was really messed up. And that's just my personal stance. I do not hate my country. I feel like I was lied to by my country and that I misunderstand my country because I wasn't taught just like...
and I love this country.
I know you do.
Yeah,
I know
really
you do. You are like
really
such
do.
a patriot through and through. And I want to love this country. Like, I look at our Constitution, I look at our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm like, yeah, let's get behind that. Right? Like, it sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. But it's not good for everybody.
We are the world, though.
But it's not good for everybody based on things that people can't help or control. And that's not okay.
We are the children. We
I
are
just-
the ones that make a better day. So let's start Well, thank you again. Let's just wrap it up and say thank you again for tuning into Borderline Racist Marriage. That was a good episode. That last section was.
That was, we ran out of space.
Yep, I'm running out of space. Gotta press a button. Press that off button.
I can't reach it. I got long arms, I can't.